My biggest win with the journey has been that inner peace and just that fundamental knowing that I've got full purpose and a great deal more happiness.
That was amazing for me, and actually for my whole family. Allowed us to keep this open mind on life and to open to all the opportunities.
I have so much more freedom and self-connection and health and vibrancy. I just feel more alive.
The journey helped me to understand what my emotions are, not to be scared of them.
It changed my life. It cleared all blocks and brought into my consciousness what my heart's desire was.
Now I feel my life is easier. I feel stronger, feel what I feel and find a new solution.
To be free from the burden on my shoulders. I live in the moment now, and I'm open to my emotions from the highest to the lowest.
Until the journey, I didn't really know that I could get to the same depth without using any substance. It's getting easier and easier to connect to the deepest part of myself.
Probably the biggest improvement is my inner life or my inner freedom to be as myself, in myself, not being a victim of circumstances and the other people.
The journey has really been a second chance in life for me. Having permission to dive deep and find out who the real authentic me was and just to be that person has just been wonderful.
When you listen to yourself and when you really touch your soul, something magical happens.
Life is different because of the journey. I feel I have all the tools I need to face whatever life throws at me. Life has become fun.
My biggest win was healing a broken heart, and not once, many times. I would never have been able to be in the position that I am in now had it not been for the journey.
Befriending myself in really accepting who I am, that I am perfectly imperfect and I don't need fixing.
I've gained so much. So there is no one big win. If it had to be named as one thing, I would just say it's life-changing.
It's changed my world, it's changed my life, it's changed me. And it's allowed me to be open and vulnerable and completely transparent.
My biggest win as a result of using the journey would definitely be my ability to network and expand upon the goals that I've had for such a long period of time.
My biggest win since attending the Journey Intensive has been finding myself. It has been healing, transforming.
I am just so much more receptive and open to whatever God has planned for me. At the very core of me, being able to experience that peace has been priceless.
A wonderful good evening and welcome to tonight's or today's Discovery session live with Brandon, depending obviously where you come from. And thank you so much for all the little hellos in the chat box. And I can see that we have guests all from across Europe, even from Australia, as far east as India. So beautiful and heartfelt welcome to this wonderful session where we kind of undergo and find out more of the scientific background of what happens when your body is talking to us, is trying to tell us something. And not only that, but we also get a beautiful introspection with Brandon also. And I have something to share with you at the end, and that is we have a free place for the next Journey Intensive online. And so for anyone who is staying here, there is a draw amongst you, and I will share that at the end of the session. But for now, let's welcome. Actually, I am Gabby Burt. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I've been with the Journey and Brandon for 27 years, and so it's been a huge and enormous privilege to witness so much transformation, so much healing all around the world. And when I was kind of joined by all of the people sharing their experiences, that's kind of what is the average comment from when people undergo journey work and what happens on the inside, what happens in our lives. And all of that is available to everyone here. And so on that note, I would love to welcome Brandon here. So thank you so much for being with us, Brandon, for this session of trying to find out what the body is telling us. So thank you. Thank
A
you.
heartfelt welcome to everyone and namaste. And I just wanted to share with you, I'm always very touched when you write in your challenges and send in emails about what's the challenges that you're facing in your life. And I always try to work into this session so that it's actually germane to your situation. And I received so many beautiful messages, both on Facebook and then privately through email. And obviously, a number of people facing serious physical challenges. And there was one woman who was sharing that she had been diagnosed with cancer, and yet she was aware that it was somehow connected to emotional suppression. And one woman was saying that she had debilitating psoriasis and that it was an autoimmune condition, that she felt that there was an emotional root cause that she wanted to get to, and all kinds of other illnesses that came up. But what I really appreciated about those two particular shares is that they were sensing that there was an underlying cause that had to do with their emotions. And in fact, science would verify that. What science says is when you feel a strong emotion and you repress it, it releases into the bloodstream a quantifiable biochemistry, which will go to certain cell receptors, blocking the cells, rendering those cells incapable of communicating with the rest of the cells in the body. And if over time illness happens, of course it happens where the cells are blocked. Conversely, what's also known to be true is that when we feel our emotions very naturally, like a child does, our cell receptors remain open. Now, unfortunately, what science has found is when we have that heightened emotion, that trauma, that crisis happened, where no one was given a manual how to deal with that. And we have a shutdown, and it releases that biochemistry going to certain cellular locations. That consciousness of that cell memory, what we were unable to face emotionally, whatever that trauma was, whatever that crisis was, whatever even just that argument was, that when we froze, that whole cell memory got stored inside our cells. And before that cell generation dies, it passes on its consciousness, its cell memory, its programming to the next cell generation. So the next cell generation is born as an exact replica of the previous cell generation. It's why when I had that basketball-sized tumor when I was 39 years old, and I obviously went to go see a surgeon, and she said to me, it probably started with one cell when you were 8 years old. It replicated and became two cells. And then, but by the time I got to her, for the last 3 months, the cells were replicating aggressively, exponentially. And I looked about 6 months pregnant, though I knew I wasn't. And so it's beautiful to see that medicine, medical science, has now caught up with what we know about the emotions and the part they play in passing on the programming from one cell generation to the next. And actually, in Israel, there are 3 hospitals, and one of them specializes in heart disease. So let's say you undergo some sort of heart treatment. After you've had your operation, you then spend a week in hospital, and they use the journey method to get to the emotional root cause. What co-created that heart disease in the first place? And they're actually doing a documentary on the findings that they found, is that when you finally get to the emotional root cause, the cell memories, and clear it out, then that consciousness is not passed on to the next generation of cells. So they become new regenerative cells. And so that heart disease is not showing up again. Same thing in the hospital that specializes in oncology research, in cancer research. And you get your cancer treatment. And again, you go through a week long of undergoing the journey at the fulcrum of that recovery center, where they're getting to the emotional corollary of what co-created the illness. The same thing in the hospital that specializes in multiple sclerosis and fibromyalgia. And they're finding that these so-called degenerative diseases, that not only are they healing over time, but they aren't metastasizing, they aren't returning. And so there's a whole documentary that's being shot on all the scientific research. And so when I first read those two reports of someone with psoriasis and someone with cancer having a sense that one of them felt her emotions were suppressed and the other one felt that there was an emotional root cause, that in fact their intuition was speaking the truth. Now, other people spoke of having not only fibromyalgia, strokes, they spoke of having skin diseases. And I just want everyone to know that with whatever physical illness that you may be undergoing, you can use the journey process right alongside whatever treatment you're undergoing, which is why the medical field embraces the journey, because they can use it alongside whatever they're doing. And so you should feel comfortable with that. Now, many of you brought up more emotional challenges. And there were 3 people who spoke about feeling like they wake up in the morning and they're exhausted. There's such deep fatigue, and they've lost all sense of purpose and passion and vitality in life, and they just want to get back their vitality. And one of the things I wanted to share with you about what happens when this suppression happens, when we're in an emotional situation, we don't have the coping skills, and what we do is we shut down, is it creates a form of suppression where we can end up putting a lid over all of our emotions. And so it can start to feel like we have no energy, because it takes a lot of energy to keep all those emotions under wraps. And so I was interested to see that these people, I would imagine, have lids inside of them that are blocking their emotions, and they feel numbed out. They can't access their feelings. They're not feeling much anymore. One person was sharing that during COVID, that he got some sort of heart condition from COVID. And after that, emotions just couldn't get access to emotions, couldn't feel his feelings fully. And yes, we want to get to the emotional root cause of what has co-created that. Now, for those of you new to the journey, just in a nutshell, my own experience was when I was 39 years old. I ended up being diagnosed with a basketball-sized tumor, and it really sent me reeling, because I had been in the complementary medical field my whole adult life, having been certified in so many different areas of complementary medicine, alternative health. And not only that, but I was living all the principles that I believed in. And so here I am feeling I'm at a peak of my life experience, feeling like I'm in a marriage that I feel blessed and grateful for. I'm working out every day, and I've moved from New York City, my hometown, to Malibu, California, and I'm living in a little tiny beach shack on the sand and breathing that fresh sea air. I'd started a meditation practice when I was at university since I was 19 years old, and so I'd been doing meditation for already 20 years, did yoga every day, and had so much emotional work and therapeutic work. And I was a therapist in life, and actually was a presenter for Tony Robbins giving his Living Health seminar, which we learned how to create radiant, vibrant health in every area in a very practical way. So you can imagine getting diagnosed with this basketball-sized tumor really sent me reeling. And I was so grateful at the time that happened, because there was a lot of work going on in the field of cellular healing. And because I was at the cutting edge of what was happening in the field of health at that time, I was specifically so grateful for the work of Dr. Deepak Chopra. And at that time, he wasn't this famous teacher that he's become today. At that time, he worked as a chief surgeon general for a hospital in Boston. And he did a radical thing as a doctor. He said, okay, we already know what symptoms lead to illness and already lead to death. So we know what causes death. I want to know what makes people heal without any medical intervention of any kind against the odds. And so he did a radical thing. He actually got hundreds and ultimately over time, thousands of case studies of people who had experienced what he called and what medicine calls spontaneous healing. And what he found is that with the thousands of case studies, he could only find two qualities that those people had in common. One was that through some act of grace or spontaneous event, they actually got access to this that he called the infinite intelligence, the part of you that makes your heart beat, your eyes shine, your hair grow, this vast field of love, of oneness, of an enlightened awareness that you came in as when you were born. And the second thing that they had in common was that through some act of grace or spontaneous event, they actually got access to this that he called the cell memory. And if somehow they got access to the actual memory stored inside the body, somehow released it spontaneously, let go of it, when the new cells were born, they were born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. Now, when I got out of the surgeon's office, I knew all this. I'd actually seen the case studies with my own eyes, and I understood the science behind cellular healing. But you can know all the science on the planet. You can understand how cells replicate, or even that cells are capable of being free from their previous programming and new generations being born devoid of that programming. But unless you have a method, it's no more than a very inspirational vision of possibility. And that's where I stood when I stepped outside that surgeon's office, and she'd had given me 1 month to give it my best shot. And part of the great good gift of my own life-changing healing journeys is spontaneous, and to this day, I feel it was a download from grace. I did find a means for all of us to go on a journey inside our bodies, to get access to these old repressed cell memories, these buried emotions, these old traumas that are stored inside, and to go through a deep process of release and letting go and understanding, ultimately forgiveness, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. Now, that was over 30 years ago that took place. I'm 71 right now. And so in that time, it wasn't in the beginning, of course, it was about my own healing. And I found out in working with people what processes worked and what didn't, and developed over these 30 years as the processes got more crystalline, more user-friendly, deeper, more effective, getting these lasting results that we're seeing medically all over the world, that I developed the work, and it's continuing to be developed until this day. And so all of you who feel that you've got an emotional pattern that no matter what you do, it still keeps rising up for you, or all of you that are already aware of physical illness, this is a process that is perfect for you. Now, if I had to explain what the journey is and does, and I remember I told you there are two qualities that the journey will give you. One is through some act of grace, a spontaneous event, as I said, Chopra said. People got access to this vast field of love, this oneness that we all came in as. As a matter of fact, science will tell you that when you were born and in your first hours, days, and weeks of your life, you felt yourself to be a vast field of awareness, where you felt yourself to be connected, part of, and in everything. As a matter of fact, when Mother's hand came before your eyes, you actually felt Mother's hand to be part of yourself. That's how vast this field of oneness is, this enlightened awareness that you came in as. But unfortunately, this infinite field of love that is our soul, it gets covered over with a series of lies, limitations, shutdowns, traumas. And it could be something as simple as you're 3 years old and you're crying about something. And your mother says, come, come, come. You've got to dry your tears. We've got to get off to nursery school. I've got to get to work. And the little you gets it, oh, I'm not allowed to feel. At least not those feelings that have the tears. And the first involuntary, but automatic shutdown happens. Now, when you start shutting down one emotion, you start shutting down all emotions. I can remember I was 8 years old and I had a very brutal and violently domestically challenged childhood. And the way I used to escape was into my children's books. And if you loved reading as much as I loved reading, well, then you would become a good reader and a good speller as I did. And I was chosen for this contest that we have in the United States called the Spelling Bee, where it's all the schools in the entire county come together in a big stadium, all the parents, the teachers, the students. So thousands of people are there. And I'd been chosen to represent our school for the third graders. And I'll never forget this. I was standing on stage and I'd already spelled 3 difficult words. And then they gave me one of the easiest words in the English language, the word fleet. I'd never seen the word fleet in any of my children's books, but I had seen the word flea, an insect. And so I said F-L-E-A-T, and the whole audience was hushed. And all at once, it erupted into laughter. Now, no one had given me a manual. How do you deal with mass humiliation in front of your friends, your peers, the parents, the teachers? And I looked to my mom for support, and she looked at me as if I was the greatest disappointment in her life and just went, and internally, it was as if this wall just came slamming down inside of me. And I went to go sit with the other losers at the back of the room. And I decided that day, I'm just so stupid. I'll never be anything more than a laughing stock. I'll never be good in anything I do. I'll never succeed. I'll never achieve. And it's like this, layer upon layer. I can remember when I was 16 years old, I got a crush on my first love, and I tried to impress him. And, well, you can imagine what a fool I made of myself. And I watched the first love of my life running out of my life, and I was running after him. And that day, I decided I'm just so unattractive. No one will want to love me. I'm just not worthy of love. Layer upon layer upon layer. Then when we get to be adults, we cover the whole mess over, right, with this polished, responsible veneer, this mask that we present to the world. And we say, no, I'm responsible, I'm reliable, I'm dependable, you can count on me. Then we wonder why it is everyone sees through all that and thinks we're full of, you can answer that. And then if you get to be very lucky, as I have been more lucky than I could possibly thank God, life, grace for, life gives you a wake-up call. Now, these wake-up calls can come in so many different ways. They can come in the form of a loss of a loved one or a pandemic. It can come in the form of a divorce. Or in my case, it came in the form of a serious illness, where for one moment you decide to get real and you end up cracking through this mask that you've been presenting to the world. And you end up opening down through the layers of the negative beliefs, the lies you've told yourself, the shutdowns, the criticism, and eventually you end up spontaneously opening into a vast field of love, of peace. And you realize it's been there all along. Only like me, you bought into the layers that covered it. And if you get to be really lucky, you fall so in love with your own soul, so in love with yourself, that like me, you will do anything to clear whatever blocks you, whatever holds you back, whatever shuts you down on any level of being. So if I had to say, what is the journey really all about? It's about getting real. It's about cracking through this phony mask that we present to the world. It's about being willing to open down through the layers of the pain, the shutdowns, the traumas, and eventually spontaneously opening into yourself, your soul, into this vast field of love. It is by opening into this soul that you are guided by your own soul to various cellular locations. And you spontaneously uncover the cell memories that's there. And you go through a deep process of release, letting go, surrendering, and understanding what took place to you at that time. Ultimately, forgiveness of yourself, of life, of other people, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. And so all of us have this capacity, this ability to go on our own journeys. And I wish with all my heart I could take you through a journey tonight, but it's actually part of a 3-day immersive online retreat called the Journey Intensive. Or in the case for the first time in 30 years, I'm actually giving a 6-day residential retreat in Prague in a month's time, which I'll tell you more about later. But it's deeply healing work where you're healing not just the physical issues, but the emotional blocks, these emotional blocks that are really blocking you in your relationships, the glass ceilings that you've had in your career and in your finances. You're clearing the limitations and the way, the beliefs, the negative beliefs, the self-criticism you've had about yourself. And you're clearing whatever lampshade you've put over your life. So many of us, you're aware you're playing small and that you're not being true to the greatness that's inside of you, to this potential that is your essence. And so the journey is all about, in so many different ways, clearing everything that blocks you so that you can live from your authentic essence, from that freedom, and you can heal every area of your life. But though we can't go through the whole teaching, I'd still love to support you if you'd like to go through that and through a divine experiment where we have a chance to befriend our bodies. Most of us, when we feel an emotion come up, we do almost anything, an uncomfortable emotion, to avoid it. We'll smoke it away. We'll drink it away. We'll get on Facebook, we'll surf the web, get on TikTok. We'll call a friend. We'll go to a movie. We'll watch Netflix. We'll do almost anything not to feel that painful emotion. And so we've lost touch with our bodies and we've lost touch with ourselves. And so I'd love to do with all of us a guided introspection that you can listen to time and again, and to really go on a journey inside yourself and begin establishing a friendship with your body, to begin this process of listening to what is it your body's trying to tell you. What emotions are buried here? What is the body been trying to tell you all this time that you've not been listening to? So even though this is only a baby step towards your beginning to establish this relationship with your body, it will create an opening for you to begin this process of listening to yourself. So if you just like to treat it as a divine experiment and see what the body's wanting to reveal to you, the body will never give you something you're not ready to face. Because the soul is what's driving the journey. And if you're not ready to face it, it's not going to come up. But if you are, then your body will reveal what you're here to face, at least for today. So if you'd like to join me, this is a closed eye process. So let's take a nice deep breath in, letting it out, and closing your eyes. And first of all, taking a deep breath in and blowing all stress out of the room. And a deep breath in of openness to whatever it is the body is trying to reveal. Breathing that into the room. And the willingness to listen, to be present, to open with whatever the body is trying to tell you. Breathing that willingness into the room. And trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in life. Trust in the fact that your soul wants you to heal. It wants you to come home to who you really are, to take the lampshade off your light, to open into that enlightened awareness that you came in as, and to listen. Your soul wants you to uncover what's stored inside your body. And so breathing this trust in yourself. And now letting your heart Be as wide as the world. Wide enough to welcome all the feelings that live inside of you. That's how vast this vast open sky of all acceptance is. And it's vast and spacious, free and endless in front of you. It's boundlessly spacious and free behind. It's endlessly vast and spacious to all sides of you. It's boundless below, sky-like above. And you're just resting in this vast open sky of all acceptance. All love. And now let's turn our gaze inside the body. And you know, our bodies are like these containers full of all kinds of feelings, all kinds of emotions. And our feelings, you know, they're like little kids. Some of our emotions, they're loud and attention-seeking. Others of our feelings, we've pushed them away, and they're shy of us and scared to come up. Others of your feelings, you've rejected them so many times that, like a little child feels rejected, they don't even come up anymore. They hide underneath lids or behind closed doors. And so, putting out a heartfelt welcome to all the feelings that live inside of you, and let your body and your heart and your being know that for once, you're going to be present. You're going to welcome. You're going to listen to what the body's trying to tell you. You might even say you're sorry to your body. And then right now, locating a part of your body where there may be a little tension or stress or holding or hiding, where I don't know, something feels blocked there, or an old contraction is there. Find a part of your body that somehow there's a contraction or a tension or a stress or holding or hiding going on. Locate that area right now. Taking a nice deep breath in of all acceptance, and now flooding that area with acceptance, letting it be marinated and tenderized and softened and opened. And if there were a feeling starting to rise now out of that area, I wonder what that feeling might be. It might be as quiet as a whisper. But if there were a feeling, what might it be? Or if this area could speak, it had words, what would it say right now? Give it a voice. And as you listen, how do the words make you feel emotionally? Or perhaps spontaneously a picture has shown up. If that's the case, step into the picture. How are you feeling in that picture? Or perhaps it feels like there's a lid blocking this part of your body. Let's assume that there might be. And the same way you would peel off the lid of a can of peanuts, take hold of this lid and lift it off right now. What's hiding here? Just welcoming whatever's here and also whatever's not here. Taking a deep breath in of acceptance and flooding that area with acceptance. Letting it be softened and marinated. Just flooding it. And now come to neutral inside of yourself and finding another area where there may be a little tension or stress or holding or hiding, some sort of contraction going on. Locate that area. Taking a deep breath in of acceptance, flooding that area now with acceptance, letting it be softened and opened and marinated and tenderized. And if there were a feeling starting to arise out of that area, what might that feeling be? I'd be quiet as a whisper, just letting it arise. Or if this area could speak and had words, give it a voice right now. What would it say? As you listen to that voice, how does it make you feel emotionally? Or perhaps there's a picture just showing up out of nowhere. If there is, step into it. How are you feeling in the picture? Or perhaps there is that lid. Taking hold of that lid and lifting it off. What's hiding here? How does it make you feel emotionally? Welcoming whatever's here and whatever's not here. Taking a deep breath in of acceptance. Flooding the area with acceptance. Coming to neutral. Finding yet a third area where there might be a little tension or stress or holding or hiding, contraction going on. Locate that area. Taking a deep breath in of acceptance. Flood that area with acceptance, letting it be softened and tenderized, opened, marinated. And if there were a feeling starting to rise out of that area, what might that feeling be? Might be quiet as a whisper. But if there were a feeling, what might it be? Or if it had words and could speak, what would it say? As you listen to the words, how do they make you feel? If there's a picture, step into it. How does it make you feel? Well, perhaps there's some sort of door and you sense something's hiding behind that door. If there is, take a key, turn the knob and open that door now. What's hiding there? Welcoming whatever's here and whatever's not here. And taking in a deep breath in of acceptance, letting it flood that area and coming to neutral. And if it feels appropriate, you might like to say to your body that you're willing to start committing now, to listen to yourself, to be present with yourself, to welcome emotions and listen to what your body's trying to tell you. So if that feels appropriate, you can make that promise to yourself. Taking a nice deep breath in, letting it out. And once again, letting your heart be as wide as the world. It's vast and open, spacious and free in front of you. Boundlessly vast and spacious behind. Infinitely free and endless to all sides. Taking another nice deep breath in. Sighing it out. And continuing to rest here. Soak. Steep in this. As this. So that eyes open or eyes closed. Same awareness. And taking another nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And one more nice deep breath in. And sighing it out. And you can open your eyes now into this vast field of awareness that is your own self. Taking another nice deep breath in. Sighing it out. And if the eyes have not yet opened, this is your invitation to open your eyes now. And you can open your eyes now. The eyes will open now. Okay, I know some of you go very deeply, so I always have to say that at the end. And I really want to encourage you that if something strong came up for you in the chat box, you should feel free to write down what it is, the emotions that came up for you. Some of you really went for a deep plunge right then and had some deeper issues come up that you may not have been aware of before, or that have been buried very deeply. And I'd love to invite Gabby to share whatever gets written down in the chat box, and we can all share the different emotions that were arising in the gentle welcome.
I think people are still just coming round from the deep meditation, so I haven't got any shares here, but please share what came up for you, what your experience was as Brandon guided you through.
While we're waiting, what emotions came up for you, Gabby?
Coming through now, sorry. Feeling sad and feeling love was the first one that came up here. Feeling terrified, a feeling of a terrified, abandoned child came up for one lady or one person. Sadness always shows up in my throat, somebody else said. Tired of fighting. Wow, that's an interesting one. Tired of fighting, feeling hopeful and light and ease, but not fully trusting it yet.
Yes.
Acceptance came up for her. Michelle said, feeling trapped in my energy. Catherine said it was difficult to grasp the emotions, but I clearly heard what the body part has to say. Help. This is too much. I cannot do this anymore. If I think about it now, it has to do with a feeling of overwhelm. Wow.
Wow.
Sadness,
I
anger, fear.
felt come up when I was doing it. I was so surprised. I was going to the 3 different parts in the body, and at one point, the words "help" arose for me. Yeah.
Sadness, guilt, anger, fear, and abandonment showed up for John. Helplessness, shame. And Marianne said, I started to feel an incredible vulnerability that I've been hiding for a long time. Wow. Anke Bajana said, fear of breath, holding breath very, very young. I could hear a clear message to slow down and not overrush things. My body's screaming at me to listen. Neurologist yesterday told me I have an MS and wants to start an infusion therapy. I know it's my body and you can help. Neglect came up for me. Joy, comfort, and strength were things that came up as being wanted. Feeling sad and trapped in my energy. So beautiful, beautiful share.
Some of them very, very deep issues there, and some
Marianne
of you
also shared to say it's incredible how old these experiences are.
Yeah, it can feel like they're old dinosaur issues that aren't really here, but the truth is they're trapped in your cells. And with the journey, once we open down through the layers of all the pain and open directly into our infinite soul, into the love, you will be guided by your soul to specific cellular locations and actually uncover the exact cell memory stored there. Not just an emotion, but in living color, the cell memory will be there, and you'll go through a profoundly healing process of releasing all that stored, buried pain that may feel like it's so old, buried. I don't feel those emotions anymore, but they're stuck there inside the body, trapped there. And so you go through that deeply, it's gentle process, but profoundly healing, and through understanding what took place at that time and ultimately forgiveness, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old issue. Now, my prayer is we don't wait till we get a wake-up call, a physical one, which can't be ignored like mine was, that we befriend our bodies now and say, it is time for me to get real. It's time for me to go on my own journey and to really uncover what's stored inside my body and go through a deep healing journey. And you know, the truth of the matter is, while I was on tour for the 25 years before COVID, I was on tour 44 out of 52 weeks of the year, going to 39 countries in the world, all over the world. And every week before I got on stage, I had a journey process. I never wanted to be so arrogant as to say, I've got it all handled. I know there's more than one cell memory stored inside here, and I feel it's a privilege to clear whatever blocks me, whatever holds me back, whatever shuts me down, to take the lampshade off this light. And the realization of the infinite self just keeps getting deeper and vaster, and you end up living, as the video said before, from that peace, from that joy, from that love, and living your life as an expression of your true self. And so my prayer is you give yourself your wake-up call now, and you decide that you're worth it to go on your own healing journey. As I mentioned earlier, you can go on the online version. The next one happening here in the Europe is the Journey Intensive, and that'll be in November. And one of the things that is very present with me right now is for the first time in 30 years of offering the journey, I'm going to be giving for newbies, people new to the journey, and for all comers, everyone, an in-depth residential retreat for people who have a fierce longing to heal every area of their life. And we're going to be diving in to everything from your relationships to your creativity, to your careers, to your health, to any silent saboteurs you may have where you're working out at the gym, you know it's going great, you feel great. And then a friend calls and says, oh, let's go to the movies tonight. And suddenly your gym routine falls away, or your health plan, your diet falls away. And we always wonder what is causing this. And all of us, no matter who you are, all of us have silent saboteurs stored inside of our bodies. And so this is going to be an immersive retreat where we're starting with yoga every morning, and we have movement sessions and breath work and trauma clearing sessions and DNA cleansing sessions. And every day we will be in process undergoing this in-depth work. And by the end of 6 days, you're going to feel washed clean, wide open in your radiant infinite self, and feel like all the lids you had in your life, these glass ceilings, the lampshades you put over your life have been blasted through, and that you're feeling healed and whole, ready to start living your full divine potential in your life. So I'm really looking forward to this. It was a big leap for me because we always used to do the Journey Intensive, and it was a 2-day non-residential retreat. And I just learned through COVID that people are ready for this deep immersion. And we only have a small handful of places left. So if you're feeling called, Gabby can share with you a link and you can get on. And if you're still able to reserve a place, I love to look forward to meeting you in person in Prague, and I'm so excited about it. And otherwise, there are all the other online programs that you can get to, all happening all around the world in different time zones. And so I pray that you will listen to this wake-up call that doesn't come from me. It comes from your own soul, and listen to your heart and discover that you're ready to begin your healing journey. So I'm going to pass you over to Gabby, and she'll share with you, and she'll do that lottery also, where one of you will be picked to have a free place on the Journey Intensive that's happening online. So until the next time I see you or with you, a heartfelt namaste, and thank you with all my heart for hanging out and sharing in the love tonight. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for being with us here live tonight. It was really, really awesome, beautiful, and kind of took us all very, very deep. So thank you for that. And on behalf, not just from me, but from everybody here. So the first thing I talk about is the event in Prague, and Brandon has already mentioned it. This is the first time ever we've done this. And when she says a handful of places, it really is a handful of places. So just a few more spots available, and it takes place in Prague. Prague is one of the most beautiful cities behind Vienna, because I'm from Austria originally, of course. So, but it's a beautiful city, and it's out a little bit in the countryside. So we do not only just have a beautiful city that we can kind of spend half a day or a day in, but we have also beautiful countryside to go for walks, and a beautiful hotel that has wellness facilities and stuff. So it's a beautiful place. All of the information is there. You find it on if you have your chat box open, you have the link there. Just open it for now, and then you can read a little bit more about everything that happens and takes place at this retreat. And so that's the live event with Brandon, probably the one and only. So I'm not quite sure how we move forward with this, but so much of our work since COVID has gone online. And you know, I've read somebody, oh, I wish I had the money. Yes, it's not just a seminar fee. It's also, there is so much else that comes in when you come to a live seminar. And so online makes it very, very much easier for us, for you, for everyone. You can digest, you can experience the event in your own home, in the comfort of your home. There somehow is also a safety with that, you know, that we kind of are in front of our laptop or our iPad and we follow the seminar, but we undergo a lot of the work where we undergo process work. We also have journey practitioners to support us online as well. So the benefits and the outcome of the online events are hugely powerful. The next one on the European time zone is the 9th to 11th of November. We have one on the North American or American time zone, 2nd to 4th, and Australasia, 16th to 18th. And all of these events for the next 7 days have a special discount of 50 euros or $50 or 50 Australian dollars off. And it's just a code that will show up on the page, or is JI50. So it's very, very easy. And my colleague Olga will share the page here as well. I promised that I would give a place away for free, and we have chosen our winner for tonight. We randomly, so there is nothing that we know about anyone. We just know who is kind of coming early in the discovery session and who stays on. And the person that came up for today's free offering of the Next Journey Intensive online, anywhere in the world, whatever works for you, is Lisa Weiss. So Lisa, congratulations from all of us. I hope you enjoy. You can come and join us, and we look forward to sharing the profoundly healing work with you. I just want to say a few words from myself, because as I said at the beginning, I've been with Brandon for 27 years now. I've been working with her around the world at seminars. I'm the international director, so I've been instrumental with all the book publications, with all the seminars, with everything. So I really have seen thousands and thousands and thousands of people of all ages, of all cultures, of all countries, of all genders. And what I have witnessed is, the reason I'm still here is because of what I have witnessed. I have not come across any work that goes so deeply and is so profoundly turnaround and transformational as the journey. Because when we open into this infinite potential that Brandon is talking about, when old cell memory shows up, the tools are there to clear them out completely. And when they are cleared out, new cells replicate without this old pattern. So we don't have to tell ourselves anyone. We don't have to kind of repeat in our head what we should be doing, or it happens. It's an automatic reprogramming. So there are illnesses, physical illnesses, there are emotional blocks, there are stress, anxiety, depression. It doesn't matter, or just a spiritual seeking. I know that there are people out there that just wish they could find how to open into this presence and how to live from here. Well, the journey has the answer, and healing is a really, really wonderful and welcome side effect. So wherever you are in life, whatever you are experiencing right now, the journey has the answer, whether it's a physical issue or an emotional issue. And it is on the online version very, very affordable. So in the European price is 197, and we do a 50 euros discount of that price. So, you know, 147 euros are so quickly spent in our day and age, and you have 3 days to turn around your life. And these are tools that stay with you forever. This is something that you can really take on board. So I leave you with that. I hope you hear what I'm speaking, or that you get the truth that is resonating through my words. I wouldn't be here for all this time if it hadn't been real for me personally, and if I hadn't seen thousands and thousands of people around the world heal from pretty much any and everything. So it's possible for you too. And I hope you'll join us. I hope we'll see you maybe in Prague, maybe at one of the next online events. So thank you so much for joining us here. And once again, thank you, Brandon, for being with us live. And also thank you to our team, to Chris and to Olga, for doing all the little background stuff. And mostly thank you to you all for taking an hour and a bit out of your day and joining us here. So thank you very, very much. Hope we see you and get to know you. Namaste. Thank you.
My biggest win with the journey was being able to access my deepest emotions and free myself from them. I feel more calm and serene.
I found my true calling, and now today I can help others. I love to make an impact. I love to see transformation in others' lives.
For years and years, I used to feel very lonely, and now I just feel a part of everything. I feel I'm alive.
My biggest win with joining the practitioner program is owning my own life back and stepping out of a severe PTSD.
The acceptance of myself and the self-love, so I don't need others to love me. That's perfectly okay.
Life is different now because of joining the journey, because I just live in so much abundance. You know, I get up every day with a joy for living. I want to go to work. I want to meet other people.
My biggest win was the really deep knowing I actually do have the answers. They are within me.
There is a lot more certainty and openness into where I'm heading and how I'm feeling about things.
I feel more connected to life. It's not an easy path for anyone to do healing work, but it's profound.
One, I'm more balanced. Two, I'm more grateful for those persons who helped me in this life. I enrich my life every day with this wisdom.
It's priceless. There's no better, bigger investment we can do in time, money, or energy.
I was a mess before I started with this work, and I healed from lots of different types of abuse, and that's a miracle.
My life now, because of the journey, is transformed. I have confidence. Even if I struggle, it's just I have to let go. It's step after step, and it's no danger at the end.
My biggest win is myself. It doesn't have to be anything else. You can be fulfilled even if you only have yourself.
It's more peaceful. I've learned to process emotions. I learned to be more self-aware, and I've learned when you need to ask for help.
I've been able to have a really deep, long, soulful look at myself, and I've been able to uncover, recover, and heal long-term.
I know that no matter what comes, I have the right instrument to deal with whatever emotions every situation will bring to me.
It really has helped me come back to a place of wholeness. I feel like completely authentic. I feel genuine. I feel like I'm in my body.
My big win is my courage and my physical healing, my emotional healing. But in one word, I could say freedom.
The journey is all about releasing all of the emotions that create the illness. I was healed physically within 6 weeks, while I had been in pain over 3.5 years.